How you guys doing this evening? Good. I'll be doing a lot better in about 5 minutes. So I was back and forth between topics, but the one that really struck me the most was the importance of being your own advocate when it comes to healthcare. Especially as of last year, this meant a lot more to me, well actually in January. So let's rewind back to 2018. I went to West Point with my unit to do some training for the cadets up there. Well, while we were there, we ate mostly UGRAs and MREs. For those of you who don't know, MREs, meals ready to eat, it's a bunch of packaged crap that's in a bag that's full of preservatives. Matt can attest to that. UGRAs, for those of you who don't know what they are a vacuum wrapped bag, and the way you prepare those are you put them in boiling water, and they cook for about 3-4 minutes, and you just scruff them on down. So you can just imagine how that goes. So I was at West Point for about 4 months. Well, about the second month of being there, I started having really bad cramps, nausea, the typical things that you would have with UGRAs and MREs. So I didn't think too much of it. And then fast forward to last year, 2019, I was deployed to Africa in March. There, the food was very limited. What we got shipments of food from Germany every 2 weeks, and we had a lot of MREs as well. Well, I ended up losing 15 pounds on deployment because I couldn't keep food down. I kept vomiting and having a lot of nausea, stomach pain. So I came home, and Maddie and I were talking, and I was like, I should probably go to the doctor. Well, I can't stand the doctor, and lifelong eyesight, that's about it. That's the only reason I will go to the doctor. So Christmas of 2019 was when it got pretty rough. So we were eating Christmas dinner, and I ate my dinner, and then I went back and got a roll, just a dinner roll, just this big. And I ate it, and as soon as I ate it, I was vomiting, my nose started bleeding, I could tell my heart rate went up, and I was like, this is not good. I should probably go see a doctor. So Maddie and I were on our way home from Christmas, and she said, you really need to schedule a doctor's appointment. And I was like, well, I guess, yeah, it's probably about time. So because it got to the point where every time I would eat, my nose would bleed, I would vomit, and then right after that, I would feel better 5 to 6 minutes later. So I go to my first doctor's appointment, and I walk in, and the PA looks at me, and he's like, you just trying to get out of eating MREs? And I was like, no, listen, you don't understand, this is an issue. I never come to the doctor, I've been in the Army for 4 years, this is my first time being in the doctor's office. And so he gave me a piece of paper, he said, here you go, follow this diet, you'll be fine. The diet had foods including vegetables, nuts, berries, things like that. Things that had no correlation to what were making me sick. I was like, sounds good, you're the professional, follow this. So I followed that it was 3 to 4 weeks, nothing changed. So my second appointment, it made him furious. He was mad that I was back. So he busted through the door, he said, you have gallstones. I was like, okay, sounds great. Like I said, you're the professional. I have gallstones. So he said, you're going to the hospital for an ultrasound, and that's just what it is. You have it. I know you have gallstones. I'm telling you you have gallstones, but we have to send you to the hospital to get an ultrasound to verify that you have gallstones. So go get my ultrasound done. The next day I get a phone call from the hospital. Mr. Elder, your results came back negative for gallstones. You don't have those. Interesting. Army doctors at their finest. So my third appointment, I finally scheduled another one. He came back in, he was like, how about I just refer you to the allergist? I was like, well, you should have done the first time. But who am I to tell a doctor what to do, right? So I went to the allergist, and they did their protocol skin allergy test, and all my skin allergy tests came back negative. I've never had reactions to my skin, but therefore I've never had reactions eating food either. So after that, he said, what's some foods that make you sick? So I said, well, it seems to be pastas, breads, gluten-containing foods. So he was like, okay, so what we're going to do is a food challenge. He was like, so next week I need you to bring a food that makes you sick, and we're going to go from there. So I brought a sleeve of bagels, and he said, so what we're going to do is you're going to eat a little bit at a time. We're going to wait 15 minutes, we're going to monitor you, and we're going to see how your body reacts to the foods as you go on. So I didn't get to half the bagel, and my nose started bleeding, I started vomiting, and I actually stepped out because the bathroom was in the hallway. Well, I come back inside, and I was doctoring up my nose because the tissue was in the bathroom that I just threw away. So I was fine. He was like, "Are you okay?" I was like, "Yeah, my nose was just bleeding a little bit." And he was like, "What do you mean your nose was bleeding?" And I was like, "Well, I threw up. My nose was." He was like, "I need epinephrine stat." When he said that, my heart dropped. I was like, "I'm dying." So at this point, he laid me back on the table. They shot me with epinephrine in the back of my arm. He said, "You're going into anaphylactic shock." So come to find out, every time I would throw up and my nose would bleed, I was going into anaphylactic shock little at a time. So it was funny because I was diagnosed with anaphylaxis, a severe wheat allergy with anaphylaxis and an IgA deficiency. IgA is found in mucous membranes, mainly in the respiratory and digestive tracts. They also play a part in asthma and allergies. It got to the point where this PA called me 2 weeks after my diagnosis and apologized to me for what he had done. So it was definitely a crazy road, but I got med boarded out of the Army. I've been out for 2 months now, and I couldn't be more thankful because I'm here with all of you guys. So. But yeah, I was supposed to be in Fort Bragg back in March, but God had other plans for me, so now I'm going through this internship, and I couldn't be happier, so that's all I got.